She is the reigning queen of lingerie. Please welcome Sarah Shotton.
Sarah Shotton, creative director of British lingerie retailer Agent Provocateur.
When I looked up the words Agent Provocateur, I was met with words like troublemaker, agitator, and you've had some of the biggest names in the business.
I mean, we've had like Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, and then Beyonce's wearing it. We made some of her show outfits. She came out for her birthday in Agent Provocateur. Everyone has a bit of Agent Provocateur in them.
It makes you feel incredible. It's luxurious, opulent.
Feeling sexy makes you feel confident.
Agent Provocateur has hit the headlines over the years. Can't a girl ride a bull in knickers these days?
No.
So sat in front of me, I see a hugely confident woman, but it hasn't always been the case, has it?
I remember literally crying and crying. Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Hi, I'm Abbey Clancy and welcome to Exhibit A. Today's guest has been bringing sexy back for over 3 decades. She is the reigning queen of lingerie. Please welcome the gorgeous Sarah Shotton.
Thanks,
My gorgeous
Abby.
friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So obviously,
A bit of a massive introduction then. I feel a bit like, sexy.
sexy. Well, you are the queen of sexy. Obviously, I know who you are. But
Yeah.
for people listening who might not know who you are, who is Sarah Shotton?
I'm the creative director of Agent Provocateur. I have been working at Agent Provocateur for 25 years. I'm actually a farmer's daughter from the northeast of England. Moved down to London in the 90s, studied fashion at Central St. Martin's, and Agent Provocateur was my first job.
So sat in front of me, I see a hugely confident woman, but it hasn't always been the case, has it?
No.
Talk me through your early years and growing up.
So I think my early years of growing up, I went to an amazing school that if I hadn't have gone to that girls' school, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing today. But it was a girls' school and it was very pro-girls. You can do what you want to do. You can be who you want to be. And I think for me, at the time, getting into fashion at 15 years old, 16 years old and looking at Vogue and seeing all those amazing supermodels of that time, Kate Moss, Cindy Crawford, I wasn't so confident about my body at the age of, but at the age of 16, I would have been maybe, I would think like a 32E probably. At 88, 89, there wasn't really a sexy lingerie brand in the UK. And if you were my size at the age of 15 with big boobs, there wasn't really anything that was cool, that was bright. And really, we weren't celebrating women's curves at that point. It was sort of heroin chic, the waif. And I remember my mum taking me to go bra shopping. And I remember seeing at the time a beautiful Cacharel bra that was like baby blue stripes and gorgeous and tiny and very Brigitte Bardot. And sort of saying to the lady, this...
Do you have this in a double F?
Yeah.
And she was like,
my size.
That's your section.
Well, and also just getting, somebody taking me into a changing room, a lady that was much older, very old fashioned.
Yeah.
And sort of saying, oh God, we've got another one, really humiliating me about my body shape at the time and sort of coming back with a very ugly, nude, disgusting granny bra, basically. And I remember literally crying and crying, in the changing room. And at the time, I was a pretty cool sort of 15, 16, 17-year-old. I was really into fashion. I wore loads of like Junior Gaultier. I was wearing Vivienne Westwood at that point in my life. And I was like, this is crazy. I can't get any underwear that...
That's hot.
That's hot. And so, I wasn't confident about my body. I did control eat for quite a while and I lost a lot of weight and kind of basically, tried to lose my boobs, which I successfully did by eating maybe an apple and a salad a day. And It was not really great because I don't think, at that time in my life when you're obsessed with controlling food, you should be going out and going clubbing and enjoying yourself. And all I was doing was making sure I wasn't eating too many calories so that, it wouldn't go to my bust or, I wouldn't be curvy, I suppose. Yeah. And really when I should have now when I think back, my body was amazing,
Right.
you know, and I should have been celebrating it. But it actually took probably halfway into being at Central St. Martin's and going to see a plastic surgeon and actually about to get a boob reduction. You know, he really changed my mind over it and made me kind of look at myself in the mirror and look at my body and, you know, made me feel good about my body. And I sort of was like, actually, no, I'm going to embrace this.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard now, especially for this younger generation with social media who see these unrealistic ideals of body image.
Yeah.
You know, what advice would you give a younger person who has insecurities about their body?
I think just, you know, to make the most of their body. And I think that, you know, eating well, eating sensibly, exercising, and actually, you know, stand in front of the mirror and actually look at yourself and just sort of look at yourself naked and get to know your body and just really embrace it. Because honestly, when I think back about those years, I don't, you know, I'm just like, what was I thinking? And actually, you know, working at AP, that really transformed how I felt about my body and my shape and just, you know, curves are gorgeous. The things that you think you don't like normally are the bits and bobs that maybe your boyfriend or your partner really likes. I mean, I think that's now I really love a VPL. I love a VPL line. I think it's really sexy with a pencil skirt. But just, I think, you know, doing loads of sport and being healthy, that kind of gets your mindset into kind of being more into yourself as well. I think that helps.
It's ironic that you started like that and now you are literally creating confidence for so many women and people across the globe with your designs. But I want to know, how did this creative journey start?
When I graduated from St. Martin's, you know, it's an amazing college, but you sort of come out a bit like, woo, you know, wow. So I took a bit of time out, and actually what I realised was I didn't really know anything about business. I knew how to be creative and I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a buyer. I was obsessed with being a buyer. I was kept applying for Topshop and getting turned down, going, I was like,
Did my work experience in Topshop?
Yeah, I mean, I was in Harvey Nichols' buying office when it was the absolutely fabulous times. And I remember like even failing the maths test and sort of somehow blagging my way in, you know. They were like, well, you failed your maths test. What makes you think you can be a buyer? And I was like, well, I know lots about fashion and fabrics. Anyway, I had a marvellous time there. But my first job was obviously at AP, and it was on the shop floor and in the office with Joe and Serena, who founded it. And it was just, I suppose, my journey really, because when I went for my interview, I wasn't all dressed up all sexy. I was, you know, in a baggy suit and a pair of Prada loafers and very kind of casual, cool girl. But I kind of gelled with them, and I suppose they saw something in me that they really liked. And I started as an office junior, and I was so happy to have a job and to learn about a new business, because at the time it was tiny. You know, there was only Pont Street and Broadwick Street, and it was like a cool brand, but we didn't have loads of shops. So my journey really began with them. And about 2 weeks after sort of joining at AP, I went into the store to get some underwear with my, you know, how you pass your probation and you can go and get your first set of lingerie. And I remember being in the changing room, and it was the first time that I could actually get like a great coloured, tulle, sexy bra that actually would fit me.
Yeah.
And I remember buying a turquoise tulle quarter cup, and super sexy with a tiny, tiny thong, you know, like minuscule, like we used to call them stripper thongs, and a suspender belt. And it transformed me. I was like, I am so sexy. What have I been thinking? My body's amazing. You know, because I'd put on weight by this point. It's like a 10, my natural weight, I suppose. But my boobs were in it. I was a 32F, but I felt amazing. And it kind of, I suppose that made me feel great. Also, I felt like I'd met my people. Yeah. You know, when you go somewhere and you're like, hey, you're my people. I've met my people. Because all the girls were a little bit kind of different and quirky, but we all really loved underwear. And really that moment of me feeling transformed in the changing room, I was sort of thinking, well, maybe I can do this as well. And it was when the founders actually got me to start designing, that's when I kind of got my head thinking about, right, I don't want any other girl to feel
how you felt,
like how I felt. And so my main motivation was to make sure that if somebody went into our store at AP and was an F cup, they could get the same bra that somebody who was maybe a B cup. Yeah, like a double A. You know, they could have a quarter cup if they wanted to. So, and that's how I really, you know, I started designing stuff for myself really. And so I started designing stuff that was super, super sexy because I'd always felt that I couldn't get that. I could always get a granny bra, you know, supportive bra or a sports bra, but I couldn't get anything that really highlighted how great my body was. And so that's how it kind of came about really.
What was it like working in that shop in the 90s?
I mean,
you know, it was the first boutique in Soho. Was it all sex, lingerie and rock and roll?
Yeah, it was actually. I mean, there's no place like Agent Provocateur. It was.
I love going into the shops.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an experience, but I feel like you walk in the door and instantly feel empowered and uplifted, you know, hot, sexy, and the girls take care of you so well. And it's like, so I can't imagine what it was like in the 90s. I need some goss.
I always say it's like Willy Wonka for adults. I mean, it's such a fantastical place. It's theatre, it's drama, and it's sex. It's, you know, sex is good for you. It makes you feel good. Gets all the happy hormones. It's great for your skin. It's a fun thing, you know. So it's a fun shop. And in the 90s, it was particularly fun because, you know, it was a wild time. I mean, I'd always go in at Christmas and Valentine's because we'd be at the head office, you know, boxing all the underwear up, and it'd be like, oh my God, there's people queuing out the store. Everyone's got to go in. So we'd go in with Joe and Serena, and it was hilarious, and it was just the mad mix of customers. You know, everyone was coming in. Everyone wanted to be a part of it, and you know, our doors were open for everybody. It wasn't. You know, we were all taught to fit lingerie to anyone. Yeah. Anyone. I mean, we'd get men in suits coming in that, you know, they'd be like, have you got stockings for this size feet? And, you know, they're a size 10. And you'd be like, okay, this is for you, you know. But we were all like up for it. And it was fun. And at Christmas time, you know, it was so busy. We'd all be out. We'd been out at the Grouch show probably the night before and maybe got 3 hours sleep and then be at the shop, back on the shop floor. You know, and you got to know all the customers. And
who is the AP customer, would you say?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's that everyone has a bit of Agent Provocateur in them. Yeah. I do believe that. And it's just about unlocking it. And especially at that time, it was literally... You know, there was a lot of men, obviously, at Christmas time that would be coming in the 90s. But it was like, you know, housewives were coming in, taxi drivers were coming in to buy for their partners, celebrities were coming in, rock stars were coming in. You know, it was literally, MPs were coming. I mean, I loved it. The door would swing open, you'd be like, I don't believe it. Yeah. I don't believe it. And also, for me, because obviously we can't divulge who these people were, but it just made me smile going, do you know what? That's amazing. I love that, you know, you love a crotchless knicker.
Yeah, exactly.
And they'd be like, I'll take 10 of them. You'd be like, oh my God, brilliant.
Some women could find it intimidating walking into Agent Provocateur. Yeah. How do you get them in the door?
I think, you know, I mean, like you've got to, it's like being a hairdresser working in Agent Provocateur. You've got to get into people. You've got to really read that person as soon as they walk in. Yeah. And just make them feel comfortable. But I mean, I've had women who are getting divorced, who have been in tears in a changing room with me, that, you know, the husband's left them, they haven't felt great about their body, and then you've ended up getting them into a play suit or a set of sexy lingerie and they've been in tears going, thank you, this has transformed my life. I mean, you know, like you've got to really read the women and sort of, and also like, you know, you've got to make them feel comfortable because they're taking their clothes off, and it can be intimidating, but my main thing to everyone is like, just get through that black door, because honestly, those agents are amazing.
I was an agent for a day.
Yeah, you were.
But I was pregnant.
I know, but
and I was throwing up in the back.
But you weren't telling anyone at that point. It was a secret.
And I remember the person I was with, I was throwing up and I was like, I just need cake. And they were like, you can't be that sick if you want cake. But obviously no one knew I was pregnant.
And when you are pregnant, you just crave stuff, don't you?
Stuff.
Yeah. We do have a pregnancy AP uniform as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, that's we didn't at that time, but we do now. And it was great. And it's great. It's a great store. It's a fun store. And in the 90s, there was lots of shenanigans and, store being opened in the middle of the night because no one could get home. And so we'd sleep in the store. I mean, Amazing. Funny things like that,
Fabulous.
But yeah, it's a special place. But, once we get, say, somebody in that changing room, they're transformed. They'll come back and they'll come back. It is quite addictive. And it's not primarily for in the bedroom. It's about making whoever feel good about themselves. Yeah. That is it, basically. It's like your Under Armour. It's your secret weapon. It's like putting a high heel on or putting your makeup on. Yeah. It's the first thing you put on every day. It's the most important thing you put on.
It makes you feel incredible. It's luxurious, opulent. And it just gives you that oomph, I think.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But does sex sell?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's, it's like great for keeping fit. It's good for you, like we're saying. It's good for your skin. It's good for your health. It's good. I think it's a really, it's just even like the build up to it all, the touching and the looking. I suppose like it's confidence. It's undressing. And also what I think about AP is it does the work for you a little bit. You don't, you know what it's like. It's smoking hot, isn't it? It makes you feel amazing and you can just stand there.
Yeah.
And I think you will understand that being in campaigns and stuff. I think having to wear your underwear in front of a camera, in front of people, when you're in AP, you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I'm going to really go for this.
100%.
And it is, and I do like speak to a lot of people about other underwear brands, and everyone always says to me, there's something about AP. It's so magical.
It's magical.
It's always been about the woman being in control. And I think that's where other brands maybe, and also the male and the female, because obviously, my training when I started to design, I had to get it past a man and a woman. And that's why it does appeal to men and women.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe other brands maybe just appeal to women. And I think that's what's so dramatic. And it's got a bit of a fashion edge to it as well.
Definitely.
But I do think sex sells. Yes, I do, Abby.
Do you think there's an age where we should stop being sexy or stop feeling sexy?
No, because I think like feeling sexy makes you feel confident.
Yeah.
That's, feeling good about yourself it's happy hormone. It makes you feel great. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and be like having sex. Yeah, it just makes you feel good, doesn't it? I mean, like, if I'm not feeling very sexy or I'm feeling a bit frumpy, that has an effect on me.
Yeah.
It's in your core, isn't it? How you feel.
But I think a lot of women feel like that after they've had kids.
It makes you confident. It makes you so, that's the X factor.
Yeah. But like when people have kids and they've spent 9 months in the cotton high leg brief.
I remember that time.
Yeah, and the no wired bra. And then, sometimes it's easy to just forget about you. All your focus goes on your kids and stay in that. Like, what advice would you give to women who are in that,
I think just like, you need to have time for you and you need to, it's really hard after you have kids. Remembering who you were originally. And it was really hard. I remember trying to get my head back into designing when I had my, Georgian machine. And it is, you've really got to kind of, it's very hard. And I do think like when you are breastfeeding and you are wearing those horrible stretch maternity bras and you're sort of, and you're sort of comfy knickers. I mean, I remember my mum saying to me, actually, it was after I had George, at one point, she came down from the northeast to see me and she was like, Sarah, you really need to get your mascara on and you need to like get your APs back on. And I think because it was about 8 or 9 months in and I was literally, you know, in my tracksuit bottoms. And it was great, actually. It was great advice that she said that because I started feeling like me again. And, you know, you don't have to be running out and wearing AP, but just put something on that's a bit of your old self because it is really easy to lose your identity and you know, trying to separate the two off, especially after you've been, you know, breastfeeding and stuff.
So when I looked up the words Agent Provocateur, I was met with words like troublemaker, agitator. You've clearly got a little bbit of a naughty streak in you. Do you think this has been the key to your success with the brand? Yeah,
Patrick would agree to that, I think, you know. Yeah, I do. I've always been a little bit naughty. Yeah, always. Even when I was at boarding school, getting up to no good and always kind of a bit of a ringleader.
What did you do?
You know, like climbing out of the windows in the middle of the night and going to the local nightclub. The Darlow football team were like literally backed onto where the boarding house was and we were like, woo! You know, on the roof at 15 years old. Terrible.
Going back to the original store opening.
Yeah.
You brought the shock factor to the high street. You know, you sit next to M&S and, you know, normal shops. How was it received?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I started in 98, so that was 94. And it became like a cult cool brand sort of overnight, really, because it was provocative. And at the time, you know, we didn't talk about sex in the UK. It was kind of, can you remember like Kilroy shows? They'd always be like, oh, it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I think at one point Joe who founded it was on Kilroy and, you know, there was 2 of the girls who were AP girls were in the underwear and, you know, the women were like, it's a disgrace. Who goes out dressed like this? And we were all thinking, well, everyone who goes clubbing is dressing like this.
Yeah.
I do think at the time when it started, there was 2 things going on. There was the rave culture, you know, everyone was going out wearing, can you remember, fluffy bras and dancing in hot pants and stuff. And then there was this kind of conservatism, Britain, where, you know, it was like, oh, we don't talk about sex. It was quite old-fashioned, I suppose. So this store that kind of erupted, there was nothing like it in the UK.
There still isn't?
Well, no, there's not. And there wasn't really anything. You could go to Paris and there'd be a few nice little lingerie stores, but there was nothing like Agent Provocateur because it was a very cool sort of fashion lingerie brand. And it still is a very cool fashion lingerie brand. Yeah. So people were like, wow, what is this place? You know, if you wanted expensive, well-fitting, sexy lingerie, you went to Agent Provocateur. Otherwise, there was Ann Summers, which, you know, or there was M&S basically.
Yeah.
So there was not that in between.
Yeah.
An AP kind of landed and everyone was like, I want a bit of it. And it kind of made it okay for men to buy lingerie for their partners. You know, you'd be happy to get a pink Agent Provocateur box. We feel like the Agent Provocateur woman should be able to come to the stores and get a shoe and get some stockings and get her lingerie and get a suit if she wants it or a sexy dress. So, there is lots, and jewellery. We're doing lots of jewellery now as well.
Agent Provocateur has hit the headlines over the years so many times.
Yeah.
It's been accused of everyday sexism. The adverts look like porn. You've even had campaigns banned in the past. Do you intentionally go out there to cause controversy?
No. No. I mean, I think there was a time when we probably were, when I suppose in the 90s and the noughties, we were all into a bit of controversy. I mean, it was sort of everywhere really, wasn't it? But I don't know. We just try and do campaigns that are very Agent Provocateur and like, we have to be sexy and we have to be a bit controversial because it's in the name, you know?
It's the DNA.
And it is the DNA. And we're always looking for the right women that are Agent Provocateur to kind of be the face of it each season. But I don't think, how I work on campaigns is I work very closely with the director or photographer, and I kind of sort of listen to what people are wanting out there. You know, it is all about timing, and it's really knowing who your customer is and what's going on outside in the world and what the kids are into. I think you do have to keep your sort of ear to the ground a bit. Yeah. But I mean, we do, it doesn't matter what we do at Agent Provocateur, we're always going to cause debate. Yeah. We're like Marmite. Mm-hmm. And like one of the main campaigns that I'm really very proud of was Play to Win, which had, Olympians in it. And they're doing their sport in sexy lingerie and to Ferris Bueller's Day Off music, and it's amazing. It won an award. It's amazing. I love it. It's sexy, but it's strong. But that caused a lot of controversy. And I remember having to do an interview with the New York Times where they were sort of like, can you explain this? And I said that, we need to really hero the athletic female form. And actually, they're modern day superheroes. What they're doing is, I couldn't do that. I mean, it's amazing. And spending time with female athletes for me was just such an eye-opener because, they're like, well, I like pink and fluffy things. And, why can't I wear sexy lingerie? And why can't I wear Agent Provocateur? And actually, for a few of them, they've been body shamed for years. And actually, their bodies are amazing and they're beautiful and they should be celebrated. So that's why we did Play to Win. And because obviously the Olympics was coming out, it was pre-COVID. And also I was spending, like I say, a lot of time with female athletes and especially female climbers because my husband's a climber. But, spending time with them and being around them and just thinking, wow, God, you climb up a cliff and that's amazing. I couldn't do that. And actually AP is about strong women. Yeah, it is. So we have lots of lawyers who come in and we have, women who are like quite high up in the city and they're wearing Agent Provocateur underneath their suits, underneath their trouser suits, So it's more about the female really.
And you've had some of the biggest names in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, who have you had? Talk us through them.
I mean, we've had who've we had? Kate Moss. Mm-hmm. We've had you, Abbey. And again soon. And we've had Helena Christensen. We've had Kylie Minogue. Naomi Campbell.
Dita Von Teese.
We made, we haven't had Beyonce in a campaign, but we made some of her show outfits. She came out for her birthday in Agent Provocateur.
Incredible.
We have many amazing, strong women that come and go to our store because we have stores worldwide every single day. And it's so amazing every week to get the list of women that have gone in and spent money and have bought something. I can't tell you what it feels like when you've designed sexy lingerie. I mean, I have got an amazing design team as well now, but when you've had a hand on creating something that is so amazing and seeing women that you look up to actually buying it. Honestly, I get a kick every day.
So talk me through the creative process. You are literally crafting confidence for women all over the world. How do you do it?
I mean, I have to say, I have an amazing team. And, one of the team members has been with me for a long time. But I mean, I still work with the design team and I still design. I think it's really important to still have be actively designing with the team.
Yeah.
But the whole process is, we sort of think what we want to do each season. What's the theme? Come up with a theme, build a mood board, have a mood board that's full of muses, amazing women. And then we all start sketching basically. And I'll brief the team going, I'm thinking something like this. And we build the collection up. And what's really amazing at the moment is the top end stuff, which I always call it soiree, but it's basically top end AP. Right. It's the closest thing to couture.
Yeah.
That's selling really well at the moment because there's nothing like that out there. And so, the drawings go out, your first drawings go out, and then the samples come in. And I am literally, Abbey, in my knickers, trying stuff on, trying to squeeze into stuff, trying to sometimes squeeze into a B cup bra, going, I just need to sort of feel how this is, going to fit. And then we have a tech team that works with the design team and myself, and we fit and we fit and we fit until it kind of gets to where we want it to look, how we want it to look, and fitting really well. And we're at the same time as fitting a B cup, we're fitting maybe a double D cup at the same time.
When you are in this design process, how big a role does fantasy play in all this?
Loads. I mean, I am quite I'm very creative and my mind will wander off. I mean, I can catastrophize, and I am really inspired by people. I mean, you're really inspiring, even just chatting to you. You're so hot and so inspiring.
Thank you.
I need to design a range for you called Abbey.
But I think there was an Abbey.
Yeah, there was actually. But we need to do another one.
A new Abbey.
A new Abbey, and spell it a bit differently so we can get it back in again. But I am really inspired by moving image, film, pop stars, music. And I kind of, when I'm designing, I basically visualize a female character and then I kind of draw that up and draw what she would be wearing basically. And that's how AP kind of comes about. It's all primarily fantasy.
Yeah.
And, just I can go to a club sometimes or just see somebody on the street where I'm like, oh, wow, God, they're inspiring and, be inspired by that person.
The brand is kinky as hell.
Yeah.
It's basically put it on, it's sex on legs, but for some reason, it has that elegance, opulence. It doesn't feel cheap. How do you manage to create that?
Because that's me. I mean, I don't know. It's a real fine line. And like what I was saying earlier is it's the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
And so we might buy a gorgeous like French lever's lace and mix it with a PVC. It's just, it's always the male and the female for me. And I like fashion like you do. Yeah. I like a bit of Saint Laurent. So I'm like, but I also like a bit of kinky. Yeah. So it's just, I suppose in a way, it's things that I'm into really. And it's that elegant, and that's what is AP. It's the sort of, you're walking a fine line, and you have to stay on that line. Otherwise it could be too lady.
Yeah.
And then or too kinky. And it's just, and I just sort of, I think also the way that I design and what I've sort of taught the design team to design is, to kind of, it's a touch of elegance with we call it like posh filth or filthy elegant.
Yeah.
It's like a real fine line, and they know just everything has to, I think if you design something that fits really well, then you're halfway there. I mean, there's and feels great, and it feels great in the hand, and it looks, great in the hand, as long as it has that kinkiness and that elegantness. That's what AP is really.
Have you ever felt the pressure to adapt to what's going on in the world?
I think what's really interesting when you're talking about campaigns as well, when the Me Too movement came out, that was quite an eye-opener because there was a conversation. I'm not going to mention names, but can we be Agent Provocateur anymore? And I was like, yeah, of course we can. We still want to feel sexy as women, and we still want to be strong. And this is about the woman. It's not about the man. No. It's about empowering women. So, and I was like, that's I can't do boring.
Yeah.
I am an Agent Provocateur, and I believe that there is a place for Agent Provocateur. So we kept going actually. And there was times and we did like, a bit of an everyday range. And that's not what our customer wants. We can do like the lucky range that you wear and I wear. I do think, I can do every day in a sexy way.
Yeah.
But I suppose we need more women to know to come to, I think most women don't think that we do like the lucky range or the page range.
Yeah.
I think they just don't know that. I think if we told more women, come and get your everydays from AP, they'd probably come in.
Yeah.
But I think that when Me Too happened, we did actually about a year after it happened. And again, quite a few people in the AP teams still say that this is their favourite campaign. We did Pump It Up, which I don't know whether you remember that, but it was to pump up the jam. Yeah. And I think everyone was like, oh my God, a lot of lingerie brands were like, we can't be sexy anymore. We can't do anything that's remotely sexy. So there was lots of sort of campaigns where girls were just sort of sat maybe in their lingerie, but not sort of emulating being sexy. And so when I was faced with that, I was like, well, how are we going to do this with Agent Provocateur? And at the time I was working with Charlotte Wells, and we sort of put our head together and going, you know what, we should be girl power. If we do like girls dancing together en masse in their underwear, being sexy to a 90s track, then surely that, that would be okay. And I remember before Pump It Up came out, I was thinking, oh God, how's this going to be perceived? Is it going to tank? Are people going to love it? And I remember taking my kids on the school run. I was living in Stoke Newington at the time. And a load of the mums came running down the street going, oh my God, I've just seen Pump It Up. Yeah. I love it. It's great. It just made me want to dance. And so we just basically did a 90s belter and put gorgeous hot girls, dancers. Yeah. We shot it in New York and we went and did like a talent contest and, is that how you auditioned? Yeah, we did we just put out, looking for Agent Provocateur, looking for dancers.
Oh, wow.
Come and audition. We did auditions for it. And I think there was about 30 girls dancing in their underwear and there was Kylie, the ballet dancer.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And it was a really kind of God, we can still be sexy. Mm-hmm. We can still be feminist and be sexy.
I think it's important for some women to be a feminist and be sexy.
Yeah. I am a high heel wearing feminist.
Yeah.
Probably like you as well.
Me too.
And I like
these kill.
I know, me too. My shoes are killing me as well. We'll be in our trainers around the corner. But I think that I don't know about you, Abby, but I dress up to how I'm feeling every day. So sometimes I might be in a tracksuit bottom and a sports bra and an oversized t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then other days I'm like in a mini dress and a pair of high heels and, and hold ups. I just dress for my mood.
Same.
I mean, I've always got my APs on.
Over the years, you've had quite a lot of campaigns banned.
Yeah.
Like the Kylie one, which is my favourite.
Yeah.
Proof. Can't a girl ride a bull in knickers these days?
No, I don't think you can. Definitely not these days. And obviously it was banned in those days. I think it was so sexy. I don't think anyone expected Kylie Minogue to take on that mechanical bull like she did. And basically it was a cinema ad and it was banned. It was so of its time and it really put AP in the forefront. I think before that, I remember telling my dad, because it was about, I think when that came out, it was about 2000. I can't remember the date.
2001, I think.
2001, yeah. And I remember because when she did that ad, it went everywhere, worldwide, all over the papers, because we didn't have social media then. It was all newspapers and TV, you'd watch the news on the TV. And it was that point that my dad was like, oh, she works at Agent Provocateur, because we became a household name really from the Kylie ad. And that set of lingerie that she wore literally sold out. We couldn't get enough of it. We were like, get more. So it did definitely it made the brand very famous.
It made the news.
Yeah, it made the news. And then we've had other ones like Fleur de Mal, I think that was banned as well, or which was, I don't know whether you've seen that one. It's based on like a horror scream vibe thing. And, it's a makeover basically, but it has like very sort of heavy metal music on it and stuff. There's been a few that have been quite controversial, but brilliant.
Yeah.
And iconic.
Iconic.
Definitely iconic. So, right, you've been a customer at AP for how many years now?
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. So you've probably got more lingerie than I have actually.
I've got the archive stuff.
You've got the archive. Brilliant.
I
need to come to your house.
You do.
So what's your favourite set and what's Peter's favourite set? And is it different?
I love black.
Right.
So anything black, super sexy, a tinge of girly.
Yeah.
So slightly feminine, but strong, powerful.
Can you remember the name of them?
No. I've got this incredible peach set. It's like peach lace with black embroidery on it. And it's got this kind of triangle waspy band with loads of black strings on.
Yeah, I know which one that is. I think it's
just gorgeous.
Catriona or something.
I just love that. I love the stocking. I love the whole shebang.
Yeah. And Peter's? What's he like?
Pete would take anything at AP. He loves it all.
And what do you think makes AP so special compared to other brands? What do you think? Because I feel like you're a proper Agent Provocateur woman and you really embody the brand. What do you think? What's the difference?
For me, it's just how it makes you feel.
Right.
I think you put it on and it's like magic. It does something to your body and makes you feel powerful, super sexy, but for yourself, which is the most important thing. And I think if you feel good about yourself and confident in your own skin, that just radiates to everyone around you. And I think it has a positive knock-on effect. But, you know, it's high fashion as well. You know, you put it on, you just feel great, look great, the cuts, the feel, the quality. It's just magical, I think.
Yeah. And do you have any funny lingerie stories?
So probably one of the most embarrassing times, it was when I think I was like 19.
Yeah.
I'd been to AP.
Yeah.
Bought this super hot, lacy PVC number.
Yeah.
And I hid it. I was living with my mum at the time and I hid it in the wardrobe. And my 8-year-old sister at the time found it and came downstairs wearing it. And my mum was like, where did you get that? And I was like, oh my God, now my mum knows I'm having sex. She knows I'm dressing up. And it was, I wanted to die.
Oh my God, that's
I've still
brilliant.
got it actually.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
You've got the 30-year anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
Have you got any big plans? Can you?
Yeah, we do. We've got...
You've been 30 years.
I know, 30 years. It's amazing, isn't it? Wow, I know. Yeah, so 30 years in December. And we've got something very exciting happening with you that I'm not allowed to talk about. But and yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. We're going to sort of launch it in November. Get it going because it was December 94. And we plan to do lots of little collaborations. I think we might have a show again, you know, few parties. So it's going to be really exciting.
I loved walking in that show.
I know. It was great. You were great. Do you know what? I wasn't actually at that show, Abby, because I was giving birth.
I remember.
I was supposed to be at the show and I wasn't. I remember kind of not being there and then sitting in Homerton Hospital and seeing you on the front cover of the paper. You're looking great.
That was incredible, that outfit.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, gorgeous.
You did a few outfits. You did a gold sequin corset and then you did the flowery one. Yeah, it was so good. We're going to do lots of exciting things throughout the year and really celebrate the whole year and celebrate with iconic women like yourself.
What's been your toughest challenge as the creative director of Agent Provocateur?
I think my toughest, probably when Joe left. I'm being really open now. I think that was for me.
So Joe was the founder?
Yeah, was one of the founders. He was amazing and I loved my time working with him and he's so inspirational and so creative. I think just that my toughest time was getting people to sort of like believe. In me.
Yeah.
And believe, not like internally because everyone knew what I was doing and everyone who knew, but it was just like, that was really tough for me to step into those shoes.
Do you
step into such big shoes, and it was really hard, I think, like to not get the imposter syndrome in your head going, you can't do this. This is, you know, and I think a few people did sort of say, you can't do this, you know, when you're like, I didn't really need to hear that. But then I was just like, right, I'm going to prove to you that I can. And I know what I'm doing here. And, you know, I love a challenge.
Yeah.
So I think that for me was like one of, you know, was quite challenging.
Do you feel there's more pressures as a female leader of a company?
Yeah, I do. I think, I'm having a great time at the moment. I've got great bosses that I work with. I always knew I could do it. And it's just, like sometimes other women aren't nice about women.
Which is mad,
yeah.
So I just don't get that. And it's so common.
Yeah. But, you know, once I don't know, I mean, you'll probably relate to this, but once you get into it, you know, once you get over the like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And then you're like, oh, I'm free falling, but I'm going to do it. And, you know, for me, it's something that I love doing so much. It's within me, you know, I know Agent Provocateur and...
Well, you are Agent Provocateur.
Oh, that's sweet.
You are?
Oh, that's so sweet. I kind of just always kept that in my heart. Like, I can do this, I can do this. And once you kind of really believe in yourself, which can be tough at times because as women, we tear ourselves apart. then and things start moving into place and it all starts coming together. You're on a wave and then you're like, woohoo, but I will definitely say over the 25 years, I've definitely had ups and downs. I've definitely had curveballs.
How do you overcome the downs?
I'm a bit of a fighter. I'm like, nobody puts baby in the corner. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm going to do this. I am going to do this. And so I just, I like a challenge and, and also like the things with work, like things that go wrong sometimes can be good things, and you can be like, oh, I'm happy that happened because something great's happened from it. But also, you have to make mistakes to go, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
And also to go, well, that's not the way to go. So I need to go more this way. So challenges in life are are good, really. And I think that's why I've ended up staying for so long, because it's always been, there was always something, there was a change or something happened. And, I was just sort of on a bit of a journey, really. And actually, when I first started out, and there was a time when I was literally doing designing, store windows, working on helping open the stores, doing interiors and working on campaigns. I was doing literally a bit of everything. And I remember with one of the ladies that was managing me at the time, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, can I just have one role maybe? Or I feel like I'm going to explode. But every little challenge that was given to me by the founders, I was like, I need to deliver this and I need to do it well. And actually, if I hadn't have done all those different things within the business at startup phase, I don't think I'd be able to do the job I do today. I mean, I really kind of got to understand everything.
The whole mechanics.
And even like, we have a tech team now fitting the lingerie. We didn't have a tech team. I'd be designing something on a bit of paper and then I'd have to go to the factory and I'd be like trying to work with the factory where there might be like, they don't understand what I'm saying, language barriers.
Yeah.
But, I kind of learn with those ladies who are amazing. I have to say, like, the ladies that we have working with us in the factories are incredible. The techs, who've made amazing outfits when we've needed them last minute for shows, they're incredible. So I just sort of learned from them, really. But I think it's important to not give up when you're starting out, to really kind of keep going on that journey and, be like, okay, if I'm going to get off the path, is this what I want to do or do I want to stick on it? And I just stuck with it, really. You're going to have ups and downs. Just don't be a flake. Oh God, I can't do it. I need to leave. Just be focused.
Definitely. What would you say your biggest achievement has been so far?
I think it was, for me, getting made creative director. I can't remember when that was, about 2010, I think. And at that point, I think we did a lot of research into the brand and there was no one really knew who AP was at that point. And the collections were all over the place. They weren't very kind of together. We were everyone was in the campaigns. It was literally like, it'd always been about one woman or maybe a group of women or something that was very like directional. And I think at that point when I got made creative director and putting my stamp on it, actually pulling the collections together and designing stuff that I really wanted to wear that had no input from anyone else. I think that for me was a big achievement. And for me personally, to kind of grow and go from being in the back room to being in the front room a little bit in the driving seat was really amazing. And actually, for my confidence was really, really great. And I worked really hard. I mean, I was working around the clock and, I remember I'd be in my flat and I'd wake up, where you'd been working hard through the day and then you'd maybe have to go to an event on the night and I'd wake up with like my BlackBerry stuck to my head and stuff, where you'd be like sending messages in the middle of the night. But I think, and actually doing some great campaigns that we've done has been a big achievement. I think doing Pump It Up at a time, which was quite controversial, was a huge achievement.
Yeah.
And, helping grow the brand to like a global brand. That's a massive achievement.
And I think of all the women all over the world or people that you've given confidence to?
Yeah,
saved relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
helped relationships. Yeah, I mean, I the biggest kick for me, like I say, is knowing that women like you, Abby, go into our store and love it. And there's no better feeling knowing. I think there's something quite magical, like when you think of something in your head and you put it onto paper, and then you're wearing it, or like Beyonce's wearing it, and you're like, I never ever dreamt that this would actually that somebody would appreciate something that I've made. Yeah.
What is next for Sarah Shotton?
Well, I think to get more women wearing Agent Provocateur, probably, you know, to get the name out there, to get more women falling in love with it, to help women realize that it's not just for in the bedroom, it is for the boardroom as well as the bedroom, but it's you know, and that Agent Provocateur can appeal to many people, really, and just to get that more well known, I suppose, get it out there.
What legacy do you hope to leave with the brand?
What legacy? Oh, like, you know, posh filth, filthy elegant. I think, you know, I think that, I don't know, I think it'd be really nice to have a little bit of what made me get into underwear, because I didn't think I was going to be designing underwear. Obviously, I did a fashion degree, but like that ethos that making women feel good and great about their bodies. I don't want any woman or any girl to not eat because they've got big boobs or they don't feel good about their body. I want more women to feel confident and feel great about their body, because I do think it does give you that X factor, and it does help you get up every day and go to work and be the person you need to be. And I think that for me, I'd like that to keep going, you know, and to still have that kind of filthy elegant, posh filth, you know, going on and on. But I mean, you know, like what we're seeing from ourselves is that, you know, sexy is back.
Sexy is back.
Sexy is back. And, you know, women like good fitting, sexy, empowering lingerie.
You know, when you look back to your childhood and you were this little girl with your F boobs, full of insecurity, on the verge of anorexia.
Yeah.
And look at you now, you literally inject confidence and self-love into so many people, so many women across the world.
Yeah.
If you could talk to baby Sarah right now, what would you say to her?
Just, you know, be naked more. Show your body off more.
Yeah.
Be confident. You know, I mean, just like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Yeah, just...
It's a waste, isn't it?
I know. And when somebody goes, oh, how many calories are in that? You're like, no, you know. Yeah, just, I mean, you know, we've both got young girls, and, you know, I am very conscious of it and just celebrating, you know, they're like, look how sporty and gorgeous you are, and making them feel good about themselves every day and not doubting themselves. And I wish somebody had come to me sooner and gone, look how amazing your body is.
Yeah.
Look how great you are. Just embrace it, you know. And I wish someone had kind of done that. And I think also, you know, there's parts of you that are made to sort of maybe feel ashamed of having boobs, and you shouldn't be ashamed. Yeah. I wish somebody had said, you know, it's, you know, you don't know what's going to happen in the future either, do you? And I think it's such a, just be who you need to be and who you want to be, and just enjoy it and go for it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Sorry I made you cry.
I know. I was like,
Well, that was amazing.
Yeah.
From your biggest fan, me.
Thank
you for coming on.
I'm your biggest fan. Thank you, Abby.
Sarah Shotton.